Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I am Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Office Bloke Daz.
Collectively we are the Office Blokes.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you like wings?
Love wings.
all right.
It's possibly
My
one of my favourite things to eat.
Same.
Big bowl of wings in the middle of the table, buffalo sauce.
Yep.
You just can't beat it.
I have buffalo sauce and everything.
So do I.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do Franken mayo.
Yeah.
Mayo, Frank's hot sauce all over it. Hell yeah.
I had a pizza the other day. I put buffalo sauce on it.
Nice. Nice. You can't beat it. You don't look convinced, Mike.
I don't know. I don't really have wings, to be honest.
Really? But you're the...
Not really.
I was going to say you're
you're the colonel.
I was going to say the chicken connoisseur, but that's already a guy, isn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't like them, but I don't normally have wings. To be honest,
Wings are just...
It's not how they ordinary. It just sticks to the breast. The breast man.
yeah, it's not enough meat on them.
Not meat on them.
You need proper wings.
Yeah.
I had Wingstop the other day, and they were shit little.
They are over here.
Yeah,
not
not
many
enough
places
meat
over here
on
you
it.
get that decent.
Well, Karen's Diner last week was the best wings I've had in absolutely ages.
Yeah,
So yeah, worth a go if you don't mind getting abused while you're eating them.
fair
I get
enough.
abused anyway if I go out with my wife.
Well, we're going to have a look at some wings. This is Buffalo Wild Wings, which I'm guessing is a chain
Yeah.
of wing places in the
I
States.
thought you knew who they were, so that's why. Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings. They are here.
I was just assuming. I've never heard of them before. And this is a bit of Company Man, which we've not done for a couple of weeks.
No, we like
No,
Company
not
Man.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see Buffalo Wild Wings, the rise and fall and rise again.
Buffalo Wild Wings. How could you not like that logo? It is literally a buffalo with wings. I know, it's an obvious joke, but it works. Of course, buffaloes don't have wings. The food is thought to have been originated at this restaurant called Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York. The actual stories vary, but the name comes from the town, not the animal. And today, more than 50 years later, one of the largest sellers
They
of
look proper
buffalo
dry.
wings is,
Yeah.
in fact, Buffalo Wild Wings. They have over 1,200 locations all across the United States. They were pretty much the first to implement the wing-based restaurant concept in a major way, and still today remain bigger than any of the others that do it. Even if you haven't been there, you've probably heard their slogan, Wings, Beer, Sports, which I think is a great description. It's practically your typical sports bar with TVs all over the place, but they are family-friendly as well, and they have had an eventful history. I'm going to be talking about things that you wouldn't have even imagined. I'll be highlighting two significant rises and falls that they've experienced with a potential third rise. But before I get to all of that, I have to take a minute to talk about Jim Disbrow, because I don't think you will ever hear another story quite like his. When he was a young kid in the 1950s, he suffered from polio, and as a way to strengthen his legs, he started ice skating. It quickly became more than a hobby, to where when he was 11 years old, he moved in with his figure skating coaches, who happened to be a married couple with a younger son named Scott Lowery, so Jim pretty much became a member of that family. Soon after, he won the silver medal in the junior men's division of the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. 2 years later, was an alternate for the U.S. Olympic team, and after his competitive career, he spent 2 years touring with a famous skating show called Holiday on Ice. I know, it seems like I'm way off topic, but trust me, it's about to come together. In the 1970s, he moved to Buffalo, New York, where he was a frequent customer of Anchor Bar. That is when he became a huge fan of the buffalo wings that they had originated, as well as the other local foods of the area. Then, in the early 1980s, he was in Columbus, Ohio with his good friend and practically brother Scott Lowery. They were looking for a place where they can go and eat some of those tasty buffalo wings, but were surprised to learn that they couldn't find a single place in the area that served them. At first, they were upset about it, but they saw an opportunity. The following year, they opened their own restaurant in Columbus, Ohio, strategically placed near Ohio State University, called Buffalo Wild Wings and Weck. I'll admit, I've never heard of Weck until just now, but it turns out it's this German roll with seeds on it, where in Buffalo, New York, they use it as a bun to make roast beef sandwiches. Sort of another local favorite, so really all they did here was take some of the foods that they liked that weren't available in the area and made them available in the area.
This is making me so hungry. My mouth's watering.
That's the problem watching videos like this, isn't it?
It's just wings are just the best thing. They really are.
It's especially, you know what I like is when you go, especially when the Buffalo Wild Wings used to be one in Houston. I used to go into to watch sport.
Right.
So it wasn't far from the office sort of thing. So if it was like, something going on, I'd like pop down and see what was on.
Yeah.
Even if you watch just like ESPN Sports Centre and just sit there with a bucket of wings
Yeah.
and a pint.
Oh God. I
Nice.
hate that we don't have these sort of options over here. You've got McDonald's, KFC. Like, I mean, within distance of work. I know you can
Yeah.
go into the middle of town and you can get wings and other things. But at lunch, if I could just go and get a bowl of wings and a pint, or something.
Is there anywhere in town that's specifically for wings?
Wingstop.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah,
Where's that?
there's one in Piccadilly Gardens and one at the Trafford Centre.
Yeah.
I ordered from there the other day. The
Yeah.
sauces are great, but the actual quality of the wings are pretty bad.
Yeah. Right.
So
Okay.
it's a shame.
Yeah.
There's definitely a market for really, really good wings
Yeah.
over here.
Much like that logo, the idea was obvious, but it worked. The name was a little long though, so the customers started calling it BW3 and the company embraced it. Early on, they advertised their extensive variety of 12 different wing sauces and 50 different beers. They also wanted to keep affordable prices, and that was made possible by various cost-cutting measures, such as using paper plates so they wouldn't have to hire somebody to wash them. So given their unique menu, variety, affordable prices, and strategic location, Buffalo Wild Wings and WEC was a big success. By the early 90s, they were able to open 6 more locations around the area, and that is when they started franchising. If you were able to give them $20,000, a percentage of your sales, and promise to use their signature wing sauces, there was a good chance that you'd be approved to open your own location. Obviously, with this new model in place, they were able to start opening locations faster than ever, and that is where things started to go bad. And I think the biggest reason for this first fall, to put it simple, is that Jim Disbrow got a little in over his head. I wanted to talk about his figure skating career because it really seemed like that was his bigger talent and probably what he cared about the most. I mean, despite being co-founder, president, and CEO of a rapidly growing restaurant franchise, he was still heavily involved in the sport. Just to help show the extent, in 1994, there was this famous incident involving skaters Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding. I don't want to get too far into that. You can watch the movie I, Tonya if you want to hear more about it, but he was in the news along with it because he was the chairman of the committee that had part in determining whether or not Tonya Harding would be able to compete in the Olympics that were about a month away. And then beyond that, for the next Olympics, he was the team manager of the U.S. figure skating team before becoming the president of the U.S. Figure Skating Association.
Did one of them injure the other one?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
I think one of them got. I don't think they injured them. I think they might have paid for
Was
someone
it
to
like
injure
a
them.
brother or someone?
Can't
Or,
remember.
I
who
think it
remember who
was something like that.
Didn't they break her ankle or something? Or
Did whack a knee or something like that?
yeah.
I feel like it was a knee.
Yeah.
That
I think it
sounds
was a
familiar.
knee.
Yeah.
Sure, it was. Yeah. I don't think it's alleged. I think it actually happened, didn't it?
yeah, Tonya Harding. Did Nancy Kerrigan was it? Or was it the other way? I can't remember. Who was the?
I think it was, but I stand to be corrected on that.
Yeah. I'm not sure which way
yeah.
around it was.
Someone break a wing.
Yeah.
Then, tragically, it was diagnosed with brain cancer that ultimately killed him 4.5 years later at the age of 54. But going back to 1994, I don't know if he was preoccupied with Tonya Harding and his responsibilities over there, or if he simply didn't know how to run a company like this, but Buffalo Wild Wings was not being managed very well. I have to imagine that the franchisee selection was questionable. They didn't have a consistent brand, different locations had slightly different names, but maybe worst of all was that they didn't even keep up with their basic accounting. You may have noticed that I've yet to provide any sales figures or anything else, and that is because no one knows what they were. Jim Disbrow himself couldn't have told you much about it because they weren't keeping accurate track of anything, which is essential for creditors and the government. They couldn't even figure out how much they owed in taxes, and it was looking like that might have been the end of things. Thankfully, Jim Disbrow realized that he needed help, so he brought in Sally Smith. She had been the chief financial officer of a hearing aid company in Minneapolis for more than a decade, and she was hired as their new CFO to help clean up their finances. In fact, they relocated their headquarters to Minneapolis around this time, partially to help convince Sally Smith to accept the position. In her first year there, she was able to calculate that the company had lost $1.6 million over that time. Since Jimmy Disbrow may not have been the best CEO, he then chose to step down and allow Sally to take over that position, and it was under her control that Buffalo Wild Wings was able to grow into a nationally recognized brand. In 1998, they adopted the name Buffalo Wild Wings for all of their locations, and the consistency in the name allowed for a national advertising campaign a few years later. In 2003, they became a public company for the first time, allowing them to pay off a lot of their debt and open more locations. I mean, you can see how fast they were growing over this time. Less than 100 locations when she took over, to over 1,200 exactly 20 years later. And by the way, over this time, every single year was more profitable than the one before it. But then, more trouble. And thankfully, they were keeping track of their finances here, so I do have some numbers to show it. In the 9-month period ending September 2017, they had earned significantly less money than that same 9-month period the year before, which was mostly due to higher costs, but their sales were suffering too. They reported negative same-store sales when compared to the same quarters from the year before. As for the higher costs, the biggest contributor there would be the price that they had to pay for chicken wings. I don't know exactly how it all works, but the demand for wings had been growing, and the chickens weren't hatching like they were supposed to, I guess, so it caused a shortage and the prices went up. In 2016, they were paying $1.72 a pound, and then all of a sudden, the following year, it went up to $2.16 a pound. As for the lower sales, Sally Smith theorized that a big part of it was the fact that their younger target customers were becoming more likely to eat at home rather than at a restaurant, which makes sense. It's been an issue within the industry. Buffalo Wild Wings certainly hasn't been the only restaurant struggling. Another reason there could be the competition. The entire idea behind the restaurant stemmed from the fact that no one else was serving wings, and they were among the first of their kind in many areas across the country. But now many others have followed their lead, providing more options for the customers. I'm just saying, as time goes by, it seems that there's more and more places to find chicken wings. Another issue could be
Practically every bar does wings in this country, doesn't it? I mean, everywhere that
On the
serves
menu.
food. I mean,
They don't have like a massive.
they're not a wing place, but there'll be
No.
a starter with like 5 wings or something.
Not sure.
I think most like Weatherspoons do.
I don't go in there. So
No,
don't
I know you
yeah.
don't, but they're one of the biggest chains
Right.
of
Right.
Yeah,
restaurants.
I can imagine quite a few places doing them, but I don't think you get like a vast variety of them.
No.
I think it'd just be wings and that's it.
It's just a
Barbecue
side dish.
wings or
It's just
something.
like 5 wings
Yeah.
or 3
Do you know
wings.
what bothers me though more
Yeah.
than anything is when they advertise wings and then you go, what sauce do you want in your wings? And you go, oh, Frank sauce, buffalo sauce.
Yeah.
And you go, oh no, we've got barbecue, honey mustard, and I go, forget it, I don't want wings.
Yeah, buffalo wings.
Yeah.
That's that's the clue's in the name.
That's
isn't
that's
it?
what I'm saying. You're more likely to get just like barbecue, aren't you? Generic
I don't
barbecue
want them.
rather than
Might as well go to
Yeah.
the Chinese and get them.
Yeah.
But they are. I mean, it shows there's a demand. The fact that practically everyone has them on the menu to a degree. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
wing places,
Yeah.
but you can get 3 wings or 5 wings.
It's still not like a British type of thing going for wings, though, is it? You know,
No.
we'd go for a steak or a whatever, but
Go for
people
wings
don't.
every
I don't
I'd have
time.
wings over steak any day of the
But a
week.
lot of people don't go out for just for wings, though. I don't think. Still,
No.
I don't think it's as big
I
a
would.
thing. No, but I don't think it's as big a thing with most people in the UK. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, you know, anything like that.
You're not slagging off chicken, are you, Mike?
I've perish the thought, Dave. Perish the thought. Why would I do that?
Now better than, like I say,
Beers,
going to a pub,
wings.
bucket of wings, pound of wing. Well, there's one place now does 50p wings, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I think they don't have a TV for sport.
across the country, but now many others have followed their lead, providing more options for the customers. I'm just saying, as time goes by, it seems that there's more and more places to find chicken wings. Another issue could be sports viewership. Many of those numbers have been down, especially with the NFL, which can mean bad things for a sports bar. Even if someone does want to watch the sports games, the sports packages and 4K TVs make them much easier to watch at home than ever before. And on top of all of this, to potentially make things even worse, there was a big proxy fight happening behind the scenes at Buffalo Wild Wings. This guy, Mick McGuire, and his firm had become a big investor in the company, but he didn't approve of the way that Sally Smith was responding to the troubles. He felt that the answer was to sell their company-owned locations to free up capital and become more heavily franchised. It wasn't happening like he wanted, so he called for her to be removed from her position, which, after some shareholder votes, she said that she would step down. If nothing else, this conflict was distracting, and the opposing viewpoints made it hard to make any major changes. Then, in late 2017, Arby's agreed to buy Buffalo Wild Wings for $2.9 billion. They felt that the brand was still strong and they'd be able to create some efficiencies between the two chains. Actually, Arby's had recently made their own comeback, so I'm guessing there was some confidence in that they'd be able to repeat something similar. They renamed the combined company Inspire Brands, who went on to acquire some other notable restaurant chains, and this is where the potential rise again comes in, but honestly, it's hard to say. Inspire Brands is a private company, so none of the figures have been available to the public following this acquisition. But if I had to take a guess, I would say that there probably has been some improvement, because they have addressed some of their issues. For one, just the fact of becoming a private company could have been really helpful. They no longer had all the stock market investors demanding these short-term returns. They now had time to implement a long-term, well-thought-out plan. They have also learned that it's not ideal to be so reliant on one product, like chicken wings, where the prices could fluctuate so much. So they have made efforts to...
Should have put a sleeve in that. Bothering me.
Yeah, you're right. And also get that celery off the table.
I know.
Yeah.
Savages, what's wrong with you?
I really don't like celery.
Oh, God,
No, I'm
what's
not
the
keen.
point? Other than as a base in a soup or something, but finely chopped, fried, boiled, everything else.
So you can't taste the celery.
So you don't know it's there. Yeah, there is no point in it. Get it away.
No, I don't eat it. Don't like it.
To expand their menu beyond them. Even before the acquisition, they changed their promotions to try to push the customers toward the boneless wings because they're actually made from the chicken breast. Wingstop started doing the same thing, not to mention all of these other new menu items like the all-American.
I had the boneless ones at Wingstop, and they were actually nicer than the wings.
Oh, are they?
The other day, they were really nice.
They're
Like
easier,
big.
aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wingstop started doing the same thing, not to mention all of these other new menu items like the all-American cheeseburger. They have also tried to address the fact that more people prefer to eat at home by
Who does that?
emphasizing their to-go menu and even going as far as starting B-Dubs Express. It's a quicker, smaller location meant for takeout orders, though it hasn't become too significant to their business. Let me know in the comments, do you think that they've been making a comeback or are things continuing to go downhill? And for the bigger picture, what do you think of them in general? I mean, as a potential customer, how do they compare to Wingstop or one of the others? And finally, what do you think of Jim Disbrow? Was I right in saying that his story is unlike anything you've heard before? And any other thoughts about Buffalo Wild Wings or Arby's or anything else I talked about in this video, leave them in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Nice.
Good.
I forgot how much of a great job Company Man does of asking loads of questions at the
Yeah.
end to get the engagement in the comment section.
Buffalo Wild
brilliant.
Wings was good though. The ones I used to go in.
Were they?
It
Yeah.
was decent.
So they don't have those over here. It's just that.
I've not seen them
is
over
it the
here.
thing you stop?
Wingstop.
Wingstop.
yeah,
They used to
Wingstop,
want
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
okay.
but a lot of the companies, like a lot of the American companies, are finding their way over here now.
They tend to, don't they? If once they start doing well over there, they do tend to spread
Yeah.
out into not all
yeah.
of them, but
If you go into the Middle East, all these American franchises are all over there.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, every one of them. Anyone you can name, all in the Middle East, all the Middle Eastern countries.
so it's quite a big thing. Is it like fast
Yeah.
food and American food over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
massive.
we tried to go in Wingstop in Piccadilly Gardens, me and Ash, and it was chaos.
Oh,
And
really?
it's literally they're serving people, and you get a thing with a number on it, and you go and sit wherever you could find room, where there was just no room anywhere. Deliveroo drivers absolutely everywhere,
Yeah.
Uber Eats drivers, and we just left. The queue was massive to order to go and stand over there for God knows how long.
In Piccadilly Gardens.
In Piccadilly
as well.
Gardens, and 2 security guards on the door as well.
What's it set up like? Is it set up like a McDonald's type of restaurant, or is it
That-
more of a
that wasn't-
more upmarket, or
That could probably seat about 15 people.
those
In
are
there.
all?
Yeah, and it was
Wow.
obviously like get people in, get people out, but the service was obviously shocking.
So it's more a takeaway.
That was,
Right,
yeah. But I'm
okay.
sure they've got locations where you go in. I love the idea of it being a sports bar
Yeah.
with wings
Yeah.
and beers, though. That's
Yeah.
what I want.
Yeah.
It's more like
That's
it,
what everyone
isn't
wants, isn't it? That's where you want to
Yeah.
go out. That's what you want to do.
Yeah,
Well, anyway,
nice.
hope you guys enjoyed it.
good
Don't
that.
forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.